Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
When I was growing up, it was the kind of thing where don't show me a report card, right? Unless it's all A's, right? I don't want to see it. I want to know why this is an A minus. And I remember being in the 8th grade and making honor roll. My last name is Denise, so it starts with a D. And there was a boy whose last name was Bartholomew, so he was above it. And so the honor roll comes home with the grades, and she's looking at it, and she's like, "Why aren't you at the top?" And I said, "Well, it's in alphabetical order, so I'm not going to be at the top." "Well, can't you do some extra credit? Surely there must be something, and not accepting no, this is alphabetical order. There's nothing I can change. And her being frustrated with that system, right? That surely do some extra homework. Every summer when school would get out, she would go to the teacher and say, "Can you give Yunji some homework for the summer?" And they would say, "Oh, no, we don't do it. They have a good summer, whatever." When I was young, I had this children's dictionary. Every day she would make me sit there and copy pages out of that's how they learned in Korea, right? So that was how she knew. She didn't know, there's no project-based learning.
Korean schools are hardcore.
Hardcore, right? And after school and late night and all that. So she would have me copy the dictionary, right, as my homework. When I was young, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV in the house. And then finally she would relent. She would make me watch the TV with the sound off to activate my brain so I could imagine what the characters were saying. And I would try to explain to her how frustrating that was, because if you're imagining what they're saying, you can't anticipate what they're going to do. So you're just trying to imagine what was done. It's like watching TV on mute as a child is like a special kind of torture. That kind of gives you a sense, right? It was very hard charging. It was difficult. I mean, it's taken a long time. I've been in therapy since we were trying to conceive, so 8 years now, every week. It's the best thing, changed my life. And a lot of that is, how do I parent? How's it going to be different? How do I forgive? And I think when you have, my parents had me young, and they made the choices they made, and my choices are different.
How young?
So my mom was 21 and my dad was 23, so young. And for context, when I had my daughter, I was 38, and I had felt like I'd lived this whole lifetime. I'd gone to undergrad, graduate school, had these jobs, made this I was in a much better financial position, all of the things, right? They did the best they could with the circumstances they had. But it's interesting, I think, when you have kids, it really makes you reflect on how you were parented. Because as my kids reach certain milestones, oh, they're 5. Oh, this is when my parents got divorced. Oh, they're this. This is when, whatever it is, whatever trauma you had happened, right? And at first, I would get really angry reflecting on oh, wow, how could you have done X? So the therapy is very helpful to contextualize, to understand, and to realize oh, I'm going to just do things differently. It's not a referendum on what they did, but it's hard not to compare and to want to do something differently.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.